Okay, so this little video thingy that you're about to watch is going to be the intro to the responding to your unpopular opinions about season 3 of Drag Race. But I also wanted to have it be a standalone video just in case some people don't watch or don't see the, responding to your unpopular opinions video. I also plan on donating all of the AdSense from this video to, I honestly don't know which organization that could help there in Poland. So if you know of any, I would really appreciate if you DM'd me on Twitter or on Instagram. And I will also include those same places like in the top comment of this video, probably tomorrow, not immediately, so you can check back at times. But yeah, we need to talk about Poland.
Yeah, sure. My name's Sophie. My Instagram is Paranoia Indukowana. It's in Polish, so I think it would be easier if it appears somewhere on the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I wanted to talk about the situation in Poland for a few minutes, as I said. This is a really broad and complex topic that could be discussed for hours, but I'll try to be as clear and as informative as possible. And also, I wanted to include a trigger warning beforehand, as I will be discussing subjects such as homophobia, transphobia, police brutality, and sexual assault. Basically, on October, like a week ago, there's been a new project by the Polish government regarding abortion laws. And up until now, abortion was possible in 3 cases: in case of incest or rape, in case the life of a pregnant person is in danger, or in case the fetus is in danger, or like in the possibility of some sort of deformation. And right now, the third option, which was the reason for about 98% of abortions, is to be forbidden, and they're planning to go even further as to delegalize it whatsoever. And this is the thing that sparked the protests happening right now, since people are not only mad about taking away their basic rights, but also the government's trying to implement it during the pandemic, when people are scared and concerned for their lives, and in many cases cannot go on streets to fight for themselves. And although this is what started it all, right now it's growing much bigger, and it seems like the straw that broke the camel's back in terms of Polish situation, and it's actually much worse than you think. So right now the riots are more about showing disagreement with our government. And I've personally been to protests 5 times now. I'm going again later today. And I live in a relatively big city, but like not as big as our capital, Warsaw, for example, so it's actually pretty safe here. However, riots in bigger cities are much more dangerous. People are going against the police. There's a high risk of being harassed and verbally assaulted. And right now the government is going as far as to encourage people to actively fight us, and even they hired a military police to go against the protesters. So a little bit of background on Polish situation now. Since our current reigning party is Law and Justice, they've been doing it for 4 years now, and they have been elected a few months ago for another 4 years. And the whole situation right now includes many issues, such as complete lack of sex education, as on basic biology in primary schools. Children are barely taught anything, and right now they're trying to implement prison punishment for teaching about things such as menstruation cycles, for example. It's pretty wild here.
It's extreme.
There's huge rape culture, there's faulty healthcare, lack of awareness about mental health, which is completely neglected here, especially the falling child psychiatry, terrible education system, xenophobia, Islamophobia, racism, sexism, misogyny, homophobia, transphobia, which I will get to in a minute in details, manipulation and propaganda in media, as it's connected with our right radical party, and they actively demonize all the leftist people, police brutality, the government not caring about COVID, which I will also get to in a minute. And yeah, so church is one of the main causes of that, because although theoretically the government is supposed to be secular, the Catholic Church has a huge influence on politics. They're actively hateful towards all the minorities. Priests are not charged for pedophilia. They cannot be arrested legally due to some sort of immunity. They don't pay any taxes, but they are involved in politics anyway, and that is a huge problem, because essentially it stops any field of development we could have, and it's the reason for most of the discrimination we're facing. And now I also wanted to talk about a specific situation regarding the LGBTQ rights and police brutality in Poland. So, as I've said before, even though it's already terrible, people are highly homo and transphobic, there is misrepresentation in media, cities are declaring themselves as zones free of LGBTQ+. On equality marches, people are getting beaten, pepper sprayed, bricks are thrown at them. Białystok Equality March was a huge thing, if you wanted to get into details. When I dyed my hair like purple, I was terrified to go outside because there is a belief that color-haired equals queer. And my friends who also have colored hair were harassed on the streets by nationalists' older men. So it's like ridiculous. And there are many of like tracks with slogans and slurs against queer people. So basically in August, a leftist non-binary activist called Margot vandalized one of these tracks as a form of protest. And it was a huge thing because they volunteered to be arrested for that, but the cops refused to do that. And instead, when they were walking home, the cops caught them and arrested them just to stir some sensation and show their power. And this also resulted in riots, as I said before, much more dangerous than the ones happening right now. The police started doing roundups with random people on the protests. They were unfairly kept in arrest. And there were also situations of, I think, either trans or non-binary people, I'm not sure, but they were not only getting misgendered in arrest, but also they were sexually assaulted by the police who were touching their genitals in a sexual way, making fun of them because like they didn't know what gender they were and they wanted to check. So it's gross and it's terrible. And oh my god, I don't have the time to discuss every single point right now, but the last thing I want to get into right now is the pandemic, because the government cannot handle it. It's like the schools were closed for a while, then we came back in September, now they're closed again, but all the restrictions are very random, the tests are very cheap quality and are often show incorrect results. Our healthcare is like frozen completely, many people are scared to get tested and it's really messy. And also in 5 days, I think there will be new restrictions saying that all the private results have to be given to the government, but like only positive results. So not all the numbers of tests taken. So it will seem like there are more people sick, while in reality, it just more people are getting tested. And I'm not saying that it's just a manipulation tool so the government can say that the riots are causing pandemic to grow, but it kind of is. So yeah, I think that would be the most important issues discussed. I'm really scared of civil war right now, but I hope that this protest can maybe finally spark some change in our country, as it's really terrible.